About 300,000 years ago, on the African continent, Homo sapiens emerged. Their brains were larger and more complex than previous species, especially the prefrontal cortex, which was responsible for abstract thinking, planning, and problem solving. This advancement was evident not only in their taller, rounder skulls, but also in the artifacts crafted by their hands. Stoneworking was no longer instinctive strikes. It required a calculated sequence of actions, selecting the right stone with the potential to create sharp edges, envisioning the tool hidden inside the raw block, and applying precise force to detach desired flakes. This demonstrated multidimensional thinking and long-term planning, a cognitive leap compared to the simpler tools of their ancestors. With sharper tools in hand, Homo sapiens could apply their intelligence to an even greater challenge, cooperating to bring down swift prey. The African environment at this time was harsh, constantly shifting between dry and wet periods. Survival pressures forced Homo sapiens to develop more effective hunting strategies. Instead of direct confrontation, they relied on collective intelligence. Organized hunting was a complex activity. It required sophisticated communication to coordinate actions, perhaps through gestures or simple sounds. Each individual needed to understand their role, anticipate prey behavior, and predict their peers' actions. The ability to plan, set traps, and drive prey into disadvantageous positions reflected unprecedented strategic thinking. This ensured safer, more efficient access to animal protein. Yet killing prey was only half the battle. The other half, perhaps more important for social cohesion, lay in how they shared it. Sharing spoils formed the foundation of Homo sapiens' group structure. This act was not only about nutrition, but also about reinforcing reciprocal relationships. Not everyone could hunt. Sharing food ensured the elderly, children, and the injured also received vital energy. This system created a safety net in which individual survival depended on collective cooperation. Promoted altruism, trust, and the formation of durable alliances. The elderly, though unable to hunt, were repositories of knowledge and survival wisdom. Sustaining them ensured valuable information was passed down to future generations. In that harsh world, meat provided energy, but water determined daily survival. On Africa's vast savannas, water was scarce, especially during prolonged dry seasons. The ability to find and extract hidden sources, however small, was a vital survival skill. But this behavior reflected deep environmental knowledge. Homo sapiens learned to identify water indicators such as vegetation or rock formations. Using temporary tools like hollow bones to access hard-to-reach water showed creativity and problem-solving. Such flexible thinking was key to survival in a volatile world. Once basic material needs were met, their minds began turning toward pursuits beyond survival. Starting with extracting colors from the earth. Ochre, a red pigment, was among the first minerals they used deliberately. Though it had no practical value as food or tools, its symbolic significance was profound. They realized color could be separated from natural objects and used for different purposes. Grinding ochre and mixing it with binders like animal fat required patience and material knowledge. From lifeless ochre, they created the first symbolic language, one written directly on skin. Painting with ochre was one of the earliest forms of symbolic art and communication. The red streaks were not mere adornment, they conveyed information, identity, status, ritual roles, or community solidarity. This revealed growing self-awareness and social recognition. Ornaments like shell necklaces had similar functions, showing a leap in cognition. Humans existed not only in a material world, but also in a world of symbols and shared meanings. At night, these symbols required light to be seen, and protection to endure. This need transformed them from fire users into fire masters. Fire was revolutionary. It provided warmth, light, cooked food for more energy, and, most importantly, protection from predators. No longer reliant on lightning or wildfires, they learned to create fire on demand. Fire reshaped community life. It extended activity into the night, created safe gathering spaces, and became the hub for bonding, knowledge sharing, and storytelling.
Ouch!
Fire was more than a tool, it was cultural and social gravity. But this great ally also carried dangers. In the fragile balance of life and death, a community's value was shown in how it treated its weakest members. A serious wound in the wild was almost a death sentence. Yet Homo sapiens cared for the injured or disabled. This reflected empathy and complex social organization. A required collective time and resources, and showing altruism and recognition of each individual's value, even when temporarily unproductive. Using herbs for first aid demonstrated early medical knowledge, built over generations of trial and error.
We move!
When familiar habitats were depleted, Homo sapiens refused extinction. Instead, they embarked on something no other species had done at such scale, conquering the world through migration. These journeys were not deliberate explorations, but forced survival movements, following water and migrating herds. Adaptation was pushed to its limits. New environments, foods, and challenges demanded creativity and stronger interdependence. Each new land taught lessons, turning migration into endless knowledge accumulation. As they moved across new lands, Homo sapiens absorbed vast natural knowledge. Every plant and animal was a lesson in life and death. They learned which were edible, poisonous, when fruits ripened, and where animals gathered. This knowledge, stored in memory and passed orally across generations, formed the basis of culture. The ability to learn, remember, and transmit complex information was their greatest competitive edge. Enabling adaptation to nearly every environment on Earth. On their journeys, they discovered they were not alone. Other human groups existed, opening a new chapter of wider social interaction. Encounters weren't always hostile, exchanging tools or rare materials forged alliances and eased tension. Networks of exchange also transferred information and genes, creating more diverse but resilient populations. This was the beginning of human connectivity. Homo sapiens began the great journey out of Africa. One of the first obstacles was vast deserts like the Sahara and Sinai. Crossing these dead lands demanded unprecedented planning and tools. They had to calculate food and water supplies for days-long journeys. Ostrich eggshells as water containers was an important innovation, allowing them to carry life through arid regions. Moreover, they learned to navigate using celestial bodies like the sun and stars. This desert crossing was not just a physical feat, but proof of abstract thinking and future planning. In the endless seas of sand, they were small creatures. Their strength lay not in resisting nature, but in unity. New environments brought new dangers. Desert sandstorms could wipe out entire groups. Facing them, cohesion and cooperation became survival keys. Huddling together under animal hides was a simple but effective collective defense. It showed quick reaction and coordination against sudden threats. This resilience, the ability to endure hardship and keep moving forward, was a psychological trait that helped Homo sapiens conquer Earth's harshest environments. Reaching coastal areas. Homo sapiens demonstrated remarkable adaptability. Instead of relying only on land hunting, they quickly learned to exploit abundant marine resources. Their diets expanded with shellfish, crabs, and fish. This provided steady protein and crucial omega-3 fatty acids, believed to further enhance brain development. This dietary shift highlighted mental flexibility and creativity, enabling them to settle in entirely new ecosystems. As they entered Europe and Asia, Homo sapiens did not step into an empty world. They encountered other human species, most notably the Neanderthals, who had lived there for hundreds of thousands of years. Neanderthal stone tools. Mysterian culture were efficient but less diverse. This encounter was a unique moment in history, two intelligent human lineages coexisting and observing each other. It raised fundamental questions of interaction, competition, and coexistence between human species. The interaction between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals was not limited to competition. Homo sapiens may have learned survival skills in Europe's cold climate from them. For example, a Homo sapiens individual wearing Neanderthal jewelry was a powerful symbol of contact. It showed the ability to learn and adopt cultural elements from others. Such encounters enriched genetic diversity and helped shape who we are today. Conquer the freezing north, humans needed a second skin more efficient and fitted. This necessity drove a new invention. Loose animal hides were insufficient against Europe's icy winters. Cold spurred one of the most important Paleolithic inventions, the eyed needle. Made of bone or ivory, needles allowed stitching hides into fitted, layered clothing. Garments retained heat far better, protecting against frost and blizzards. This leap in toolmaking enabled Homo sapiens to survive in high latitudes, previously uninhabitable. With new protection, they gained the confidence to face Ice Age giants, the mammoths. Hunting a mammoth was extremely dangerous and required large-scale cooperation. A successful hunt provided vast amounts of meat, fat, hides, and bones for entire communities. Dozens participated, with detailed plans and role assignments: drivers, attackers, reserves. Using natural or man-made traps with ranged weapons reflected advanced strategic and technical skills. Organizing such large operations was a competitive advantage in the Ice Age. Beyond food, mammoths supplied materials for building shelter. On frozen steppes without caves, Homo sapiens had to build their own shelters. They developed a unique form of early architecture using mammoth remains. Huts made of mammoth bones and tusks, covered with hides, were remarkable discoveries. They provided protection against severe weather and demonstrated spatial planning and construction skills. Shaping living spaces marked a key step in mastering their environment. In the warmth and safety of huts, oral culture flourished. Storytelling became essential for passing knowledge, experiences, and values. Elders did not just teach hunting, they told stories of origins, rules, and the spiritual world. Homo sapiens' language was now complex enough to express abstract ideas. Reenacting hunts was both entertainment and education, preparing youth for future challenges. This preserved community memory and created cultural heritage. When land conquests were etched in memory, Homo sapiens turned to their next horizon, the vast ocean. Curiosity and courage drove them to attempt the impossible, leaving safe land to reach imagined lands. Around 65,000 years ago, Homo sapiens achieved one of the earliest and most astonishing sea migrations to the continent of Sahel, Australia, New Guinea. Even at lowest sea levels, the journey required crossing wide straits. This was undeniable proof of their seafaring ability in the Stone Age. They built sturdy rafts to carry people and supplies. Such voyages demanded extraordinary bravery, navigational skills, and a fierce desire to explore. Successful settlement in Australia proved that no geographic barrier could halt Homo sapiens' expansion. Having mastered the Earth, they began mastering the laws of physics. A simple invention multiplied the hunter's power many times over. A revolution in hunting tools arrived with the atlatl, or spear thrower. Acting as a lever, it extended the hunter's arm, greatly increasing the range, speed, and penetrating force of the spear. The atlatl allowed attacking prey from safer distances, reducing the risk of injury. It was especially effective against large, fast animals roaming Ice Age plains. This was not just an improvement, it was a leap in mechanics, showing deep understanding of physics and applying it to superior tools. In rare moments of rest, Hands once devoted to hunting tools began a new creative journey, shaping ideas into form. Small figurines, intricately carved from ivory, bone, or stone, appeared across Europe. The most famous were Venus figurines, with exaggerated feminine features. These works were not realistic copies, but symbolic expressions, possibly tied to fertility, abundance, or spiritual beliefs. Creating three-dimensional symbolic objects showed a mind capable of abstract thought beyond immediate reality. This was the pinnacle of symbolic thinking, the foundation of art and religion. But when ideas could be preserved in shapes, they also found another way, more intangible yet full of emotion, to express their inner world sound. Music was entirely abstract, unlike anything in nature. The emergence of instruments, like flutes made from bird bones, marked a milestone in cognition. Crafting a flute required skill selecting the right bone, hollowing it, and drilling holes at precise spots for different notes. Music likely played roles in rituals, communication, and entertainment. It was not about reproducing the world, but creating new aesthetic experiences, stirring deep emotions. With music, they began reflecting on bigger questions: life, death, and what might lie beyond. Burial rituals grew complex and symbolic. The dead were not simply interred, they were carefully prepared with grave goods like tools, weapons, jewelry, and sprinkled with red ochre. These rituals were clear evidence of belief in an afterlife. Equipping the deceased suggested the journey continued. Investment of effort and emotion in burials showed deep community bonds, mourning, and an emerging system of beliefs and cosmology. Beliefs and spirituality were not limited to the dead. They were etched forever into stone, deep within caves regarded as sacred. In remote, hard-to-reach cave chambers, Homo sapiens created early art. Using natural pigments, they painted vivid images of Ice Age animals like bison, horses, and lions. These paintings were more than decoration. They may have been magical rituals to ensure successful hunts, or visual storytelling of myths. Cave art opened a doorway into prehistoric spiritual and cognitive worlds. To grasp the spiritual world, they also needed to understand the rhythms of the real one, beginning with time. Hunter-gatherer survival depended heavily on recognizing nature's cycles. They developed ways to track time and seasons. Bones or ivory engraved with notches and symbols may have been early calendars, marking lunar cycles or key events like animal migrations or fish spawning. This ability allowed them to plan food gathering and migrations, moving at the right times to maximize resources. Mastery of time and nature's cycles gave them room to return to self-expression, turning clothing into art and status symbols. Sewing skills were no longer just about warmth. Clothing became a medium for identity and social status. Garments were cut, fitted, and richly decorated with beads made from shells, teeth, or ivory. Meticulous stitches and ornate adornments revealed advanced aesthetics. A decorated outfit could mark a skilled hunter, high-status figure, or member of a group. Clothes were now more than survival, they were social language. No community could provide everything alone. The need for exchange drove long journeys, weaving networks across continents. Valuable materials like fine flint, seashells, and amber were found far from their origins. These networks showed Homo sapiens communities were not isolated. They maintained complex ties with others. Exchange spread not only goods, but also information, tools, ideas, and alliances. Humanity was becoming increasingly connected beyond single groups. Within these exchanges, a special relationship emerged not between people, but between humans and a clever predator. The bond with wolves was a classic case of coevolution. Domestication likely began when wolves scavenged near human camps. Over time, a symbiotic partnership developed. Humans benefited from wolves' hunting skills and early warning system. Wolves gained steady food and safety. Natural selection favored friendlier wolves, gradually transforming them into dogs. This alliance between two apex predators reshaped both species, granting humans immense survival advantages. With loyal companions and stable communities, they made the final step, reshaping their relationship with Earth from foragers to farmers. As the Ice Age ended, warmer climates allowed wild grains to flourish. With their deep knowledge of plants, they noticed the link between sowing seeds and plant growth. The deliberate act of planting seeds marked a fundamental shift from exploiting nature to shaping it. This tiny act of cultivation was the seed of an entirely new world.